Sinners.
Pals! What is going on, everybody? I'm Jaby Kourtney, joined by Courtney Scott Wright.
Hello, hello.
And we just got done watching Sinners here at IMAX headquarters, and I did not see the trailer going into this movie. I went in completely blind. I did not know what to expect. You saw the trailer?
I saw the trailer.
Okay.
I have been waiting for this.
Okay, so I didn't know any vibes, any tone, any themes, what setting, nothing. So I'm gonna give you guys my feelings about this, and I'll allow Courtney to do the same thing. Just generic feelings and how you should watch this movie, and then we'll go deeper into it. This is a non-spoiler review, but still gonna give you all the heads up you need. So the very first thing is, when I saw this movie, I was like, damn, this is beautiful. That was my very first thought. And it's because it's shot on actual IMAX film in 65 millimeter, and it's one of those things that I strongly recommend where you absolutely need to see this in theaters. In IMAX, because it's shot in IMAX. It's a darker movie. And so if you don't watch this in a movie theater setting, if you watch this on your phone or your iPad, the visual is not gonna be the same and the audio is not gonna be the same. And it is a powerful, entertaining, riveting movie. That's my feeling about it right off the cuff.
First of all, I was super excited. I've been talking about this movie, messaging, what do you think about Sinners? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Oh, with me?
With you,
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, so when we finally get to watch it, my first impression, kind of like you, was yes, it's gorgeous, but I loved the look and the feel, which is like a period piece. You can see that in the trailer. So to see the stunning look of not only the images, the IMAX, but also just the vivid colors and the essence of this film is just everything. I don't even know where to begin. I think I'm a little overwhelmed still.
Yeah. Again, I have to harp on, if you watch this on your TV or your phone or some kind of device, it's just not going to be the same experience. This to me is like one of those things where you go with your friends and you watch this on the huge screen because it's not the same experience otherwise.
Yeah, you'd see it in IMAX because there are elements that shift in the ratio, the way the images fill the screen that you cannot get just watching at home. See it in the 70 millimeter.
I guess that's a good thing to let people know, like there's going to be aspect ratio changes in the film. The way we watched it, there were only 2 aspect ratio changes. It was like really widescreen, and then the full IMAX. It's one of those things where I questioned while I was watching it. I really wasn't sure why Ryan Coogler would do that. But then I realized that it does give impact to those IMAX moments. And it also gives you the sense of, even though it's not really this, it gives that sense of kind of being an old Western.
The moments that are set in this different world and time, it adds to that. It enhances the experience. I was telling Jaby that I really felt like it enhanced the elements of whether you call it a supernatural feeling or the concept of whatever you feel about magic or what have you. It elevates it. Seeing it in the IMAX format, it brings it all forefront.
Irrespective of the format, I would say that this is just like a very, very interesting, compelling story. Like, you've seen films in this genre, which we'll get more into in a second, but you've seen films in this genre, but I don't think you've seen films in this genre told quite this way. That, like Courtney was saying, there's like this magical element to the whole thing that is almost like a late arrival, so to speak. And I thought that that was actually a really cool way to handle things, because it's almost a slow burn initially, where it kind of hits you really hard out the gate in ways that you don't really understand how or why. And then the film gets going, you get to know your characters. This thing kind of sneaks up on you, and it just grabs you by the throat and does not effing let go until the end of the movie. So, Courtney, can you give us just like a non-spoiler quick rundown of what this story's about?
You know, not to sound like Vin Diesel, but this is about family. You know, like it really is, in my opinion. It's about these 2 brothers who are coming back to town after an absence. They have this vision of something that they want to bring to their community. It's an opportunity to reconnect themselves to not just the town that they're from, but also reestablish relationships with the people in the town. Then you get to this pulsating, driving event. That's all I'm gonna say. And it drops you into the situation. They have to find a way out.
Okay, that was a great non-spoiler, ambiguous, cryptic way of handling it. So right off the bat, you got the poster here. You can see who's in this film. I would say that Michael B. Jordan smashed it.
He played 2 roles, not just like your lead character, but he's
Yeah,
characters.
so you can see 2 Michael B. Jordans in the poster, and that's because there's 2 Michael B. Jordans in the movie. Now, there were times I got confused between the 2 of them. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there were instances I got confused, but like, like I understood the differences in their personality. It was just like, wait, which one did what now? I understood who was who in terms of their general disposition. But it's just like you're seeing them kind of back to back sometimes in action, and I'm like, okay, well, hold on. My head's spinning a little bit. Outside of that, I have zero complaints. The visual effects on them together is effing remarkable. I'm watching the movie, I'm like, how the hell are they doing this? This is insane.
And I really felt like he brought the essence of the opposite of these two characters. It was really vivid for me. Because of like the wardrobe, Ruth Carter, she works with costume. She's the costume designer on, I think, all of Ryan Coogler's productions. And I really enjoyed the way she separated the differences between these two brothers. Mm-hmm. It was really clear. I think from the grill, there was there's a...
Yeah, it's in this grill. Yeah,
he has a grill. Yeah. One brother has a clear grill, and the other one, is different.
As well as
there's subtle differences, as well as, but like the costuming was huge for me, especially in terms of not only the period, but also on the two brothers.
Sorry to take it back to this, but one of the reasons I strongly recommend watching this in theaters is because you're getting potentially the best sound you'll ever hear in terms of how this movie's presented. There's so much music in this movie, almost wall to wall, that the only thing that competes with it is probably American Graffiti in terms of having so much music in the film. But the difference between a film like this and American Graffiti is just like the music is its own,
almost a character.
Yeah, it's its own character. It's got its own force to it. And if you're in a theater, man, you are feeling just the vibration in the music, and it really moves you and it pulls you into the magic that's going on in this film. Yeah. Now, if you watch the trailer, I'm assuming that you get a sense as to what they're up to a little bit. Does this trailer show you?
Yes, you know who your antagonists are.
Okay, so can we talk about that? Is that all right? Okay, so there's vampires in this movie, and I did not know that walking into it, but like I started to like get wind of it. I'm like catching on to the clues, and I'm like, okay, this is something. And the way it handles the lore is very, it's how you handle vampire lore. They did it very...
but the way he built it. Yeah. He built his own lore. This really was brilliant because like he set up the rules of this particular story. You could follow along the journey and understand what was happening like vividly. And obviously we all, know about vampires, but usually each vampire story has their own specific things that they can and cannot do. And I think that the way he set his world up was really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely show you the rules in the film, and there's a lot of scenes that sort of dance around the specifics of those rules, and it's very intense dialogue sequences that it's all predicated on amazing actors doing their thing. And it's like, it's only because the actors are doing so well that you're buying into the reality of what is being told to you. Mm-hmm. And it takes it to a level that I don't feel like I've seen any other vampire film really do. Like, this is definitely like upping the ante on all of that. It's amazing.
But I really think that it has to do with this connection that the audience has to these people. Like, they're not just vampires anymore. Like, the way that they're introduced, the way it's set up, everything that happens in between. By the time you get to the high-paced energy part, you're really, like, I was like jumping, hiding my face, like, oh my God, like, what's gonna happen? I was a little ridiculous. I was expecting him to look over me like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just...
like something like Nosferatu or Interview with the Vampire, whatever, those beautiful vampire-related films. This goes into that collection. It's a very beautiful film to watch. The action is thrilling. The visual effects is amazing. The sets are awesome. The whole thing is just like a masterpiece in filmmaking. The way it kind of plays with your mind is just wonderful. And you're right, it does have its own rules. I didn't think about that until you just said that. Like, it just clicked for me. The way it does that, I was like, oh, dang, this is crazy. I wish I could talk about it, but this is not a spoiler review.
I know.
So.
And I loved how smart everyone was, like how quick they picked up on what was happening. Because a lot of times in vampire films, you have at least one person that's like, I don't know what's going on, and that wasn't the case.
Right.
There was just a smoothness to this. And I think it had a lot to do with the music, but also like vampires are always naturally, there's like a sex appeal to like the vampires of the stories or what have you. Mm-hmm. But there was this essence of sensuality in this movie. It turned these vampires into not just characters that were larger than life, but they were real people. I'm so blown away.
Yeah.
I know I'm like rambling. Please go and see this.
With YouTube, you have to be conservative with your bad words, so I saved it for this. Don't fucking leave until the movie's over, okay? I don't understand why, I just don't understand why people are leaving.
To the bitter, bitter end.
Yeah, like there's all the way to the end, just like a Marvel film, you gotta stay to the very end. There's something there for you, just stay. Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on the fullness of the experience. This is the last time I'm gonna harp on it. If you don't watch this in theaters, you're doing yourself a disservice. The film is shot on film, and it's presented in a darker tone. And if you try to watch this on your TV with your lights and stuff like, it's just not gonna be the same experience. This needs to be in a large, dark room where you can capture all of those details.
And it makes you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
You know, like you're there in that town with them.
Yeah.
Like it's not just a normal period piece or Western where, you know, like it's super pretty and, you know, they have on their 1900s clothes. It's deeper in the sense of the grainy image, the way that it looks like something has been passed down from person to person to person. This is a story that's being retold for our benefit.
Yeah.
So please go and see it in the medium that's meant to be shown and viewed, which is in the theater.
I looked on IMDb, and this whole thing was shot in New Orleans. Well, I know you saw something in the credits that said something about Australia, but I looked on IMDb and it said New Orleans through and through. So
Cool.
maybe IMDb is not up to speed, but like it definitely has that sort of bayou kind of vibe to the whole thing.
Yeah, it has a southern feel.
Yeah.
I think you kind of need that.
Yes.
You know, like that makes me happy to find out that it was shot in the South, given that the South plays such a pivotal role in this story.
Yeah. I just want to thank Ryan Coogler for throwing a couple of Asians in there, doing a southern drawl, because you don't see that very often, and they're out there. Those Asians do exist. and so, like, those are often, like, the characters you overlook in a film. Like, I think back to something like Gangs of New York, and the few Asians in the film are just background ancillary characters. They don't matter to the story. The Asians in this film matter, and they were shown some love in a way that you just don't get to see very often.
Yeah, and, you know, like, I'm not going to say anything spoilery, but the scene with them, the introduction of them was my favorite scene in this film, just the way that it was shot. And I know that, I think you might know what I'm talking about.
I do.
It was riveting. I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, there's definitely some ambitious shots in this film. If you are a cinephile, this is going to go on your shelf. If you're into physical media, it belongs on your shelf, but not before you watch it in theaters. And so, just to shout out the cast real quick, everybody in this movie, I'm not going to go one by one, but they all did a fantastic job in bringing this story to life, in bringing Ryan Coogler's vision to life. I cannot wait to watch it again, and I hope you guys see it in IMAX in theaters. That's it for now. Thanks so much for hanging. I'm Jaby Courtney. This is
Courtney Scott Wright.
Peace out.